Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter back from the Netherlands. This is our second full day back home. And if you've been following our videos throughout our adventures in the Netherlands, then you saw that we saw a lot and went to all over the Netherlands. And this episode is So Chatty, 187 for May the 30th, 2025. We're going to talk about what we've learned about buying fabric in the Netherlands. I know a lot of you were expecting us to buy all kinds of fabric and bring them home, although we did warn you and say only if we couldn't find it anywhere else on our own turf. And it was something very unique. We did buy a couple of things, but we didn't buy that much for many reasons. Some of it had to do with just physically getting it home because we only took backpacks. And the other reason was price. And quality and choice were there too, lacking in a lot of that. But we'll talk about that as we go along. But before we do that, just a reminder, we're back on our regular schedule for Sewing with Stephen. Wednesdays, we had our first one back on Wednesday of this past week. And yeah, 9 a.m. start time. It's a Zoom. Link is in the show notes. So all are welcome. By the way, just as a side, because this came up the other day, someone who had never logged on to it before and weren't really familiar with Zoom, came on. We didn't know who they were, kind of threatened to kick them off because there shouldn't be anybody get on that is scamming or anything like that because of the safeguards that I've built into it. However, the person didn't answer us, but she did send me an email later on, to let me know that she had never been on Zoom before, so she wasn't really sure how it worked, and her computer, whatever she was using, didn't seem to have a microphone, didn't seem to have a camera either. Those are kind of two principal things you need for Zoom. But maybe she did have some of those things, and she just wasn't sure how to operate them. So I said to her, try again if you want, and maybe we can help you out with it as well. So if you're not really familiar with the technology, but you'd like to try it, the best way to do that is just jump right in. And there's enough of us on there that have a variety of different equipment we're using to connect that we can probably help you out. So don't be afraid of that. Everybody has to learn sometime with it. So that's okay. We don't mind you if you're struggling. We'll help you out. Okay, so that's on Wednesdays. Pop-up sew day. I don't know when. I am going to have another one. I want to have it soon. Right now, I'm tentatively looking at Saturday, June the 14th, maybe. Haven't completely decided on that yet. There's a lot of things coming up right now for us that are eating into our weekends and things like that. So that one I think is pretty much free. That is, however, the Saturday before Father's Day. I believe. So yeah, that could affect some people, or maybe it doesn't affect you. I don't know. But stay tuned. It is not written in stone that it's going to be that date. You will know when I have it figured out. I will let you know. Okay. So I have been up to some things, but I have nothing to show you. Well, I started a project where I'm making actually a whole video about it, where I am sort of Frankensteining different elements of machine embroidery together to create a wall hanging. So it's coming along. I'm making up as I go along with it. And in another week or two, I'm hoping that I'll be able to present that, and it will be presented here on So Chatty. And we are still planning to do a sort of a bag tutorial, but it's where Walter's going to show me what I do wrong when I make my bags. We just, of course, being away, we haven't had any time to do any kind of taping with that. And my people need to talk to his people and to get it all coordinated on our busy schedules. So yeah, we'll have a lunch meeting. So that's coming up too. What are you working on? You
Right
working on
now,
a trip?
yeah, I'm working on the next trip.
Yeah, Walter's busy working on our next trip, and that's the one when we go to London, England at the end of July, and we're going to the Birmingham Quilt Show. as well at that time. You'll be hearing more about that as the weeks go by. This week, coming up on Stephen and Walter Live, we're going to do sort of an analysis of our trip. Things that we saw, things that we learned, what we liked, what we didn't like, all that kind of thing. So that's going to be on Stephen and Walter Live this coming Sunday, which is June the 2nd. Yes, I believe so. It's June the 2nd. Or is that June the 1st?
Might be June.
No, it's June the 1st.
June.
It's June the 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, Monday's June the 2nd.
That's right. So, yeah, so that's what's coming up. Okay. So today we thought we'd talk a little bit about what it's like to try and buy fabric in the Netherlands. And the key word there is try. We are very spoiled in North America, especially in Canada and the United States. We have a lot of quilt stores across our countries, across North America, that we can go to physically. But we also have the wonderful world of internet shopping where you can get just about anything you want. Now, that's not to say that the Netherlands doesn't have internet shopping. Yeah, they've got it, okay? In fact, in some ways, Europe in general is maybe a little bit more advanced when it comes to electronics and payments and, buying things and that. But they do have not as many quilt stores. And they're not as readily accessible. So, like, what's one of the things you found when you were researching?
Well, basically, when I planned this trip anyway, Steve didn't plan the trip, I did.
Yeah, Walter's my travel agent.
When I planned the trip, I just, wasn't really thinking about fabric and quilt stores and that. And I basically picked cities that I wanted to go to, right? And then later I started looking at where quilt stores were. And I found that a lot of stores are not located in the cities that we were going to. They're located more in rural areas. Well, what you consider rural areas in
smaller places.
Smaller places in the Netherlands that we weren't going to. And since we were traveling by train and not having a car, it was difficult to get to those locations if we wanted to go shopping somewhere else. So we didn't. And the other thing I found with the quilt stores in the Netherlands was that their opening schedules were very limited. In fact, a lot of the stores only open like on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. They're not open the rest of the week. There's only a couple of stores that are open the entire week. So unless you're in an area on one of those days, then you can go shopping. So one missed opportunity we had was that there was a store in Amsterdam, or a couple of stores in Amsterdam, that were available. And our first days in Amsterdam were Tuesday and Wednesday. Actually, we were only there for 2 days, right? And so this particular store opens on Wednesdays. And I had full intention of going there on the Wednesday, but as we got busy that day, and for some reason we forgot, or I forgot. And by the time we got back to the hotel, the shop had closed. And I suddenly realized, we missed our opportunity to go there.
Now, this shop, I've got it up here on the screen.
Yeah.
It was called Petra Prins.
Yeah.
Amsterdam. And it's a shame we didn't get, at least if you look at their picture, they look like they have a wide selection of fabrics. But here you go. Opening hours, Wednesday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And apparently, according to the lady we talked to in another city, she said, "Oh, well, you should go see Petra Prins, right?" But the problem is that our next time we had available to go to Amsterdam was on a Monday. So we couldn't really go there.
No, and just taking a quick look here online, let's go into their new fabric selection. Okay, maybe we won't go into their new fabric selection because I clicked on that and it didn't do anything. So let's go. They have K Facet and Moore's Company. Okay, so here's some K Facet stuff. Those are fat quarter bundles. Okay, so down here, let's see. This would be by the meter. And your first thing you're going to see if you're in North America is $6.
Actually, that can't be by the meter. It's
Maybe
not $6 by a meter. I bet you it's by the quarter meter.
6 pieces includes VAT. 1 unit is, yeah, it's a fat quarter.
Yeah.
Fabric's cut in 1 piece. Fabric.
Yeah, so it's 4 times €6.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's 24
euros, which works out to, just a sec, works out to 24 euros. 24 euros works out to 37.69 Canadian for a meter, or $27 US for a meter.
So pricey, very pricey.
And that's for K Facet.
Yeah. But this is not just because this is K Facet, all their fabrics, not just this store. Everywhere we went, fabric was very expensive, with, to a certain extent, to the fabric market, which we'll come to a little bit later on. But I want to back up here for just a second, not so much for this store, but do you have a theory as to why stores are located in smaller areas?
Probably because the rents are smaller, less expensive. As it is, their fabrics are very expensive.
Yeah.
And so, and there was a lot of stores that seemed to be, there were a few stores that I saw online that were web only. Like they didn't have a storefront.
Yeah.
Or a lot of these stores are, I would dare to guess that a lot of these stores are actually, the people live in the same unit as the store or above that, the store or something.
And that's
like
kind of common in Holland, anyways, in the Netherlands.
And so a lot of these stores don't seem to be open every day of the week. They're just open for a few days. In fact, there was one store I looked at that they were only open one day a week.
So you might say to yourself, well, geez, business must be so good that they can afford to do that. No, I don't think it's any different than business in our countries. I think it might be, my theory is they may have other jobs.
Yeah, I would think that their primary business is not necessarily selling fabric.
Yeah.
And so what might happen is that, like anything, fabric becomes a destination, right? So if you know a store is only open on Saturdays, then you plan your week around that day going to the store. Whoever's running this store may be doing other things. They may be doing long arming, and they don't want to be bothered with customers during the day or something like that.
Now, another thing is, and I do not have a conclusive answer to this, I got the distinct feeling, though, that quilting doesn't have the same appeal there as it does in North America. I don't think it is as popular. So again, that would suggest then, if you don't have the demand, you don't have the supply for these kind of things. I could be wrong about that, but just by looking at the one store that we went into, or a couple of stores that we did go into, we'll talk about those in a minute, and looking at what they were stocking and everything like that, it just seemed to me that it isn't something that's as popular. What is popular in Europe more is knitting. There were stores that had lots of wool, and that to choose from, nice looking wool and things like that. So if you were a knitter, you would be in heaven for it. I don't know. I don't have any facts to back me up about that.
Also, I think people over there, because of the price of the fabric, they tend to only buy what they need.
Yeah.
They're
not hoarders like us here in North America.
They say, oh, that's pretty fabric. Let's buy
that.
Buy a yard that, right? So I would suspect that they are a little bit more thrifty with when they buy stuff.
So some other places, we never went to this one, did we?
Yeah, I
Or
didn't really. It was close to the Petra Prince, and it wasn't really apparent whether it was actually a store or if it was a web presence when I was looking at it, or if it was still in business.
yeah, they have this picture here. This of course is sort of in Dutch. But you see this is their hours, 10 to 5
Oh,
o'clock,
yeah, it's
Wednesday,
Wednesday
Thursdays,
and
Fridays,
Fridays, yeah,
and
and
Saturdays.
Saturdays.
It looks like they have a store because they've got these pictures, unless these are stock photos.
And then underneath it, it says our web shop is open 24/7.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like, and it's almost exactly in the same spot as where the Petra Prince is.
Now they had what they called Dutch heritage fabrics,
Mhm.
and I would have been interested in some of these, but we didn't get to this place. Of course,
However, a lot of the Dutch heritage fabrics that I saw are mostly florals. Yeah, or
yeah.
they have the Dutch tiles or whatever, right? So
And prices here, just out of curiosity, it looks like they sell it by the quarter meter,
yeah, and so it looks like it, and it
and it's the
says there
same.
it's sold out.
Yeah,
So
that one's out, but they sell it for the same. It's
yeah,
$24 or 24
24
euros.
euros, which works out
Yeah.
to 37 Canadian for a meter.
Yeah. And this, yeah, they've got a couple that are sold out. They probably don't really, and this could be one, what it costs them to get into their store, or just physical space. As we already said, these places are small. They only order small quantities.
Yeah, and the other lady that we did talk to in Utrecht, another city,
Yeah.
she suggested to go to Petra Prince or one of the shops in Amsterdam because we were looking for Dutch fabric. And she said that, well, she didn't carry any Dutch flat fabric. And she had a little bit of German fabric, but all the other stuff that was on her shelf was Moda or were
Were ones that we could get
brands
readily.
that we could get, and they were priced in her shop anyway. They were priced at about 27 euros for fabric. So
And this is the store we're
she said
talking
it was
about.
27 to 29.
Yeah. And this is the store we're talking about. And if you saw our videos, I we you have a shot of it from the outside. We did go inside and I didn't capture any video. And I had a little conversation with the lady. I don't know if this was the lady or
Yeah,
not.
it was. That was
That was
her.
her. She was very, very nice. Strange setup for the store, at least it seemed to us, because we found the store. On the outside, it said it was open, but there was a doorbell for it. And it said, please ring the bell. And basically someone would come and let you in. So we thought, oh, okay, that's strange. And so we were kind of peering through the window because I pressed the doorbell, but nobody came. So we started to walk away. And then for some reason, well, you said you saw the corner of your eye, you thought you saw movement.
Yeah.
So we came back, rang the doorbell a couple of times then, and this lady that you see the picture of, she came to the door and she kind of looked at us and says, oh, hi. I said, are you open? And she says, yeah, sign says we're open. I says, oh, well, why are you ringing the bell? She says. And I said, well, it says to ring the bell. And I tried the door.
And yeah, maybe the door was sticking.
Yeah,
something
and
like
it
that,
seemed
yeah.
like it was like locked.
Yeah.
But anyway, she says, no, we're open. So we came in. She was very nice. We told her who we are. First of all, it was two guys. I think over there, I got the distinct feeling, not just from this shop, but another one we'll talk about in a moment. They're not used to men quilting. Here in North America, when I first started quilting, it was kind of weird, but now they don't bat an eye at that a man might be coming in to buy fabric. But maybe it's still something a little bit new to them. And in fact, she said to me, I think she was teaching a class or they had a sew day or something in another room at the back of the store. I didn't really see in there, but I could hear some voices. And she said she had spoke to the lady when the doorbell rang. She looked, she saw us standing out front of it, and she said to the other ladies in there, she says, there's two men out there. And I think she was kind of trying to figure out why were men ringing her doorbell trying to get in. But anyways, she was very, very nice. And as I said, I was taking footage, and for some reason it never turned out. So, which was too bad. It was a nice little store, but the only fabric she had in there that was really something different was some German fabric, and it was ugly. So,
Well, I didn't really care for it.
it's in
But yeah,
grays.
but with her prices, it was more like it would have been like for a yard of fabric about $30 US, and that would be for just regular moda or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and for us, it would be more like $40 a meter. So, which is pretty pricey for us.
Now these are the threads that they sell, and trying to find Eleganza. I don't know most of. Here's a
Yeah.
50 weight confetti, and yeah, there's prices. So that would be. I don't.
That doesn't sound too bad, really. Hang on.
No, that doesn't seem out of the way price wise for that. But I'm not. I'm trying to figure out what size that is. Like
That would be about 597 Canadian. So, that
but
isn't too bad.
yeah, but we don't know how big the spools are.
Yeah, well, go back up. It says 3-ply
Yeah,
Egyptian.
it doesn't tell you.
No, it doesn't tell you how big the rolls are.
No.
So
So
they could be very small rolls.
yeah, and it's a wonder fill thread. But let's assume it's a small spool of it of say was a small one, 200 meters or I don't know.
Yeah, well, unless I was really hot to draw it on a certain kind of thread, it really wasn't worth our
Yeah.
while to buy thread. So,
And just see that her fabrics here. So you can guess that these are new fabrics, but these are all ones like this classic K
okay,
facet.
she's got it at 22 a meter. So,
Yeah.
So 22 a meter, that works out to $35 Canadian for a meter. And US dollars, it's $25.
Now they will sell it in smaller quantities because it's small. You can buy this in 10 centimeters.
Yeah.
To 220 euros for that. Places here in North America, a lot of them don't sell their fabric. They're kind of loath to cut you a piece of fabric off a bolt that's less than half a meter.
Yeah.
For it, and I get why they do that, but yeah, she had a nice selection of fabrics.
Now
but there wasn't anything there that we couldn't get here.
What else she said when we walked in the store is that they do not do machine quilting.
No, well, her samples.
No, but she said that the people in her store don't do machine quilting that were there. They all were.
They did their patchwork, and the quilting was all done by hand. Yeah. And she had some pictures. There's one of the quilts. She had quilts hanging up inside the store. They were very nice looking quilts, but they were completely from start to finish done all by hand. And it looks like that they offer courses as well. So maybe that's what those ladies that were in there were doing. We did not see this room. This was in behind, I think. Mm-hmm. We could hear voices in there, but we never walked in to check it out. Looked kind of like not a bad little setup. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people, maybe 8, whatever.
Well, you can see there's no machines in there.
No machines. Oh, so they can get lots of room then. Yeah. Machines aren't going to take anything up. So yeah, that's something that we don't see here in our end of the world.
When I was doing some research before we went, there was a couple other quilt stores that I ran into and looked online. And it did look like they were doing all hand quilting as well.
So that may be a thing in the Netherlands. Another store here. Now this one, somebody asked me if we would be going to, I can never say her first name, Edita Sitar.
Yeah.
And I think if you've been in the quilting world for a while, I'm sure you've run into her. You've heard about her. She sells a lot of patterns. She's very, very popular. And no, we were not going to be in her area where her store is. And I'm not sure if she even has a store.
Is that the one that does, what's her quilt thing? Is that?
What you mean, her quilt thing?
I don't know if I got the right person if I'm mixing it up with somebody else's.
Well, here's some of her patterns.
Yeah. Is that she has a YouTube presence?
Yes.
And
Yeah, she has YouTube.
I forget what's the name of her YouTube. Do you remember?
Oh, I can't remember. I forget what it's
Is that
called.
the one Karen Brown talks about?
Well, she has talked about her, yes. Um,
Anyway, I think she's in Northern Holland, and she's I think she's in Northern Holland in the Fries area.
Yeah. Now she does do a lot of applique as well, and she does it as I think she does a lot of it.
Sugary do?
Yeah, that's it. Sugary do.
Yeah.
Sugary do. That's
she's in the north part of Holland. And no, her shop is not a brick and mortar store. It's an online only store.
So yeah, but I know there's a lot of people who really love her stuff. I mean, I like her stuff too, but I think once I looked at one of her patterns and I found the pattern a little hard to follow. Might have been just me, I don't know. But she runs a lot of classes, looks like.
So if you look at this class, there's no machines.
Yep. No, they're all doing, it's all handwork. Handwork and probably some hand embroidery as well in that. So that has to be something that must be very popular.
Well, there is one here that shows machines on the side
over here.
Yeah. So it must be mixed.
Yeah. And these are, I guess, other things that she sells online too. So, yeah. But again, she was located off the beaten track.
And so it worked out that any of the stores that I saw that were close, that would have been within an area where we were, either weren't offering much for us, or they weren't open on the days that we were there.
Now, here's another example. Our craft shop is open every Friday and Saturday from 10 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, that's kind of limited hours, which, you know, doesn't make it very accessible.
Like, I mean, it looks like they've got lots of stuff.
Well, it looks like a nice little store in these pictures anyways. Everything's
but she's in a certain area, and I looked it up. It's sort of in a spot where we would have to drive to get there.
Yeah. So now this looks like, I don't know if she's selling fabric. Well, yeah, in her store, but I don't know if she's selling it online because I can't read. What's that? Quilting work?
No, she would have a web shop on there.
Yeah, workshop. She has workshops.
Yeah.
Designs on sale. Oh, that took us to OESD from her page. So she must do some machine.
She has books, inspiration, workshops, books, software, patronage. And I don't know what. That's patterns.
Oh, software, EQ8, electric quilt, booking.
Books.
Oh, books. Okay. So it looks more like she's more into the teaching and workshops and things like that.
Yeah.
Although, again, where is her store located? She's got.
No, I had it in the first page.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It's in Ada.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So down here. Our craft shop at Ada. So where's that in relationship to Amsterdam?
I think it is.
So we're looking it up.
Quite a ways away.
Yeah. So
it's near Arnhem.
Well, that helps me not.
Okay. It is there's Utrecht, there's Ada.
Okay, you're showing me, but
yeah, it's quite a ways away from anywhere.
Okay, so that's what I mean. You need pretty much.
You would have to. It's a very small city, and I don't know if it's accessed by train.
So yeah. So who shops at these places? Well, I guess people with cars.
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of people in Netherlands have cars. Yeah, you could probably bike there
because they do that a lot.
A lot of people have cars, but We didn't have a rental car, so
No. So we weren't getting there. Now it looks like she does long arm services, and it looks like she may even teach how to use a long arm
yeah.
as well with it. So yeah, workshops and courses. So yeah, she's more teaching, I think, than
It may
anything.
be why she doesn't have the store open. Maybe she may not. She may have the be teaching on the other days at the
Yeah, that
store,
could be.
and don't have enough staff to run the store at the same time.
Yeah. Um, this one, where was it located? Yeah, I'm not sure. But again, this one looks like it may only be an online store. I don't see anything.
Well, I think the ones I sent you were all, what's it called?
I don't know, the quilt store.
The quilts. They're okay. That's in a place called Kirk Werve,
Okay.
and that is really off the beaten path.
Okay. And prices here too. Notice how they list most of every site we've gone to, they sell their fabric by quarter meter. So 230 euros quarter, that's 8, that's 9.
That's not too bad.
That's not bad. That's 9
No, it says
9
price per 10 centimeters.
Oh,
So it's $23 a meter.
okay, that 23 euros
23 euros a
a
meter.
meter, which is more. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was
Okay, Cork is on an island
Oh,
that's south west of Rotterdam.
now here's something interesting. Choose your style. Reproductive substances. What are reproductive stuff? Oh, the translation. Reproductions.
Oh, okay.
Probably like,
Yeah.
of a certain, I don't
Yeah.
know, whatever. I was going to say Civil War, but why would they have Civil War fabrics? They're not.
It's on an island that's quite that's not serviced by a train, so
So yeah, no getting there. This one, quilt shop, beginners. Do they have a store? They have thread, embroidery. Visit our cozy country quilt shop in whatever that place is near Utrecht. You'll find everything for patchwork quilting, and they have white. Okay, so this one does have a store. Again, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 10 to 5. Monday and
Yeah.
Friday closed. Every second Saturday of the month open from 10 to 5.
it's in a place called Tienhoven, which I don't know where that is.
Supposed to be near Utrecht, but it's according to this. But you see that the hours are really weird. I mean, I think some of the stores that we have in our area have weird hours, but these have really weird hours, weirder than that. But it gives you sense. And
Yeah, they're just north of Utrecht in this place. But again, you wouldn't be able to take a train there.
no. And they do seem, a lot of them seem to like K-Facet stuff in their stores. And yeah, their fabric is, no wait, that's 8 fat. Price per piece. What are they charging for Tula? Okay.
It's 5.75 per 25 centimeters. So there's four times 575.
So that's 20 plus 3 is 23 euro a meter
Yeah.
for it. So yeah, so everybody is around the same price so far that we're looking here, but it's 23 euro. So that's 27, 28 Canadian dollars.
No, it's more like $35.
Oh, wow, I was off on that one. $35. Okay. So a meter. So yeah.
23, so it's $36 a meter. It would have been $26 American for a meter.
So expensive. This is another one.
And a meter is only, for the Americans, a meter is only 3 inches larger than a yard.
Yeah,
So
39
slightly
inches.
over a yard.
39 inches long, whereas a yard is 36 inches. So now they have a warehouse clearance. Super sale.
Stuffing is fabric.
Okay. So what's the sale? So €6 for 50 by 110 centimeters.
That's off size.
That's weird.
That's half of a meter by
By
1 meter. So it's a meter wide. Well, I guess makes sense. It's
Okay.
110 centimeters about the width of regular fabric. So that's for half a meter.
Yeah. So well, this is a super sale. So that's €12 a meter for these particular ones that are in this super sale.
Yeah. So that's not too bad price wise.
And
it's stuff that you would want. Right?
Pre-cut stuff on panels. Quilt. That's quilt kits.
Quilt kits, yeah.
So they got Kimberbell. That Kimberbell kits are expensive, but that's really expensive. Now, supposedly regular price was €220 for one of these. They have it marked as €85. So that's almost what?
Hang on.
$175?
It's 133 Canadian or 96 American.
Oh, well, maybe that isn't that far off.
No, that might not be too bad. But again, it's Kimberbell. You can buy it here. So
well, yeah, I know. I was just thinking whether it was more expensive there or not, but actually, according to that pricing, not really. For a kit, they have workshops. Looks like they do long arming or they sell long arms. They have Handy Quilter. Yeah, they've become a dealer for Handy Quilter. Looks like though they only sell the smaller machines in Handy Quilter, the Moxie. Oh well, yeah, they have the Moxie. It's a little bigger. So, yeah. This one, Quilt Shop and website.
I would imagine people in the Netherlands having a long arm is a complete luxury because
they don't have space.
Their houses are usually pretty small.
Yeah, their houses are small. I mean, the only thing they'd be able to have in the house would be a long arm. They'd have to sleep on it, eat off it.
Yeah, because in the Netherlands, unless it's changed, they always had restrictions for how big of a house you can have if you're single or something. So if you're married, you can and have kids, you can have a bigger house. So
now this is backing. I wonder though, they're calling it backing, but is it wide back? With creams 160 centimeters wide. What's that?
That's bigger than.
So that's. Yeah, I don't know what that is, and it's not 108 inch. It would be, I don't know. Well, 160 centimeters. That's 1 meter plus 1 in.
Hang on.
It's 1 6/10 of a meter.
No, 108 inches wide is 274 centimeters. So that's not one.
No, that's not. And it ranges in price to, I mean, $26.95. I wonder what that's for. Okay, per meter. Okay, per meter, it's $26.95.
Yeah, so that's 66 inches wide.
Okay, that's pretty expensive. I mean, wide backs to start with in our own country and here in North America are expensive, but that's
not even 108.
That's not even, yeah, it's not even as so that's really expensive. Another one here.
That was one that's near Rotterdam. I was looking at it, but it's
They have a little video.
Actually, maybe that isn't the one.
Where they showing a little bit. Here's a picture. Cute little outside of the store. Oh, there's the inside. Oh, they look like a nice little store.
No, that's not here, Ron.
But you can see the fabrics are showing and everything. Nothing stands out as being unique. And they have quilting weekends and things like that too. So, what's this one? Page not found. Okay. Patch and Stitch. Welcome to also have our studio in okay.
Limburg. But Patch and Stitch.
I don't know where that is, but their prices too. Like that's for 10 centimeter piece, 230. So the one thing is the prices across all the different stores seem to be about the same. But not one that we could get to. Quilt patchwork.
Our problem was it was difficult to get to these, right? And the other thing is the days they were open.
Yeah,
we weren't necessarily in the
our
area.
schedule. Now, just out of curiosity, let's see what they might charge for a charm pack. Tonga treats. Okay, these are ones we can get here. So
50 euros.
So that's what, about 36?
No, it's about 34, I think.
34. Well, that's not. Well, let's see.
Well, for a charm pack, that's a lot.
Yeah, actually, that is a lot. Yeah, they have cheaper ones though.
2050.
Like, okay, these are Tonga treats. There may be more in there.
2050 is 32.
No, 40 squares, 5 inches. So that's kind of pricey.
Yeah, so it's 32 Canadian, 23 American.
Yeah. But they seem to have quite a few pre-cuts in that. But where was that place? That was Quilt Patchwork.
I'm not sure. I was trying to figure out where that was. They call their name Quilt. Okay, hang on. It's in Brunsum.
Brunsum. Where is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Brunsum, Netherlands. They've got a lot of different pre-cuts. Okay, and they've got a quilting service as well, and it looks like they might be a handy quilter dealer as well.
Brunsum is at the very furthest south of the Netherlands, in the area that's hilly, right?
Oh,
and it's in between Belgium and Germany.
Oh, okay.
So it is quite a ways away from where we are.
This one's called Ellie Prince. This store looks huge in this.
I wonder if they're close. I wonder if they're related to the other place in Amsterdam, because the last thing
maybe
Prince as well.
They've got a very nice looking web page. They are located where? Do they have a information?
I had it on your page that I sent you, but...
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where it was located?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, they must have it on here somewhere. On our blog. Quilts for sale. History. The laboratory assistant. Oh, I got some alterations that my sister took. Okay, they got a whole history here. They've been around for quite a long time, by the looks of things. But they don't tell you where they are.
Ellie Prince is in a place called Zoetermeer.
Oh. And where is Zoetermeer in comparison to some bigger places? We're looking this up. We have Lori Holt. Really church for Lori Holt.
It is north of between Rotterdam and Amsterdam. It's
well, that's a big area.
Yeah. It's close to The Hague.
Oh, okay. Well, we were in The Hague.
But we wouldn't have been able to walk there.
No.
Or whatever, we would have had to find public transport to get there.
So you see they have some Lori Holt here. It's €575 for what they call a long quarter, 25 centimeters by 110 centimeters.
Wow.
From the roll. Okay, but it's the same price per meter
10
as
centimeters
yeah.
is $230, so 23.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is this is Lori Holt, which is a designer fabric, but it's the same price as what everybody else is selling it for. They all seem to be consistent in that same price. There's not a lot of variation. Mm-hmm. Almost like no variation. Mm-hmm. So I wonder why that is.
Competition, maybe?
Maybe. What did they do? All get together and decide they were going to sell it. I mean, it just seems strange.
Yeah.
This place is the Quilt
Coffer.
Quilt Coffer?
It's the Quilt suitcase.
It's open Thursday afternoons for 4 hours. Fridays from 10 to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 to 5 p.m.
A coffer can also be your trunk. So.
And it is in
Dockham.
And let's see here. That's the same one. This one. Quilter's Palette, which is located in a place called Tinero.
Yeah, now that one was interesting because you can only go to their place by appointment.
Oh.
It says open Wednesdays from 2 to 5.
Other days by appointment.
Yeah.
Interesting. That one would suggest that they're operating.
The Dockham is completely way in the north end, away from any major cities. So.
And last one we had on the, oh no, this isn't the last one. We're going to talk about this in a second. But okay, the bottom line of all of this is if you're going to go over to the Netherlands and you want to do quilt shopping, you are going to need, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And whether it's going to be worth the drive.
And not only that, you got to figure out what days that they're open. So
now here brings up an interesting thing. If you know Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts, she recently had a trip to the Netherlands and it was advertised as they were going to go to these quilt shops or go to these things that. But they were all in the major centers. And
no, they weren't. They were all in these little places.
Were they?
Yeah.
But they had a bus.
They had a bus.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They had a bus. In fact, there's also something called a textile museum in a little place somewhere. And I looked at it, actually, that you could go to it, and it was all about the history of textiles and stuff. And but it was out in the boonies, too. So.
Okay, well, that was a bus trip.
Yeah.
So they were able to get there, and that's put together by a travel agency kind of a thing that does it. And she was the celebrity brought on to pull in people from it. But yeah, you see, now that might be the only way you're going to be able to do quilt shops.
Unless you rent a car. Actually, we originally were going to rent a car. I looked at it. I've driven there before. But I started thinking about it, and well, our major plan for the trip, or at least my major plan for the trip, was that we were just going to go and visit and see places, and that quilt shops would be a secondary.
That was the secondary. Thing. If we came across them and it was convenient, we would go.
But we already kind of knew that the unique type of quilting material that might be available would be limited.
Yeah. Now, we went into a place do you remember the name of the place where we went in and the lady was a little snarky with me?
Yeah, Abuken, that place in Amsterdam, and it was only a place that sold notions. And they actually, when we went there, they did have fabric, but it was mostly apparel fabric that she had.
Yeah. There is some pictures of the inside of it on one of our videos. I said she got a little snarky with me, and okay, if you do something the Dutch don't like, they're going to tell you. Okay, they make no bones about it. They're not nasty about it. They're just very abrupt about it. And I was in the wrong.
Given her thing is she may, because people are abrupt, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was abrupt, but people, her customers and that were in the store may have been abrupt too.
Yeah, whatever. So I was shooting some video. Now I when I shoot video in stores and there's a lot of people there, oftentimes I won't shoot video if there's a lot of people in the store, for one thing, because not everybody wants to be on camera. And I do respect that. And I try not to show their faces or anything like that. I just concentrate on the products. She said, don't take video or something like that. And I made a joke out of it. He says, oh, well, I'm a YouTube influencer. I said, do you don't want to be on the internet? She says, no, she says, people don't want to be on it. Okay, I said, and she says, did you ask for permission? Well, she had me there. No, I didn't. So I went, no, I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, I'll stop shooting. It's just people don't want to be seen. I said, well, I'm very conscious of that. And, I'm only focusing on product. Then she turned around, kind of passive aggressive, said, well, you can take pictures of the product, but no people. Okay. So at that point, okay, it's not worth my effort here. I'm not going to bother. Obviously, she doesn't like it. She's not comfortable with it. Doesn't want me to. It's her store. Well, I was assuming it was her store. I don't know. She might have been help, but whatever.
And yeah, go ahead.
But this was a store that was more for garment makers.
Mm-hmm. But
we asked about quilting cotton. And she said they had some, and she pointed it out to us, but she said, but it's 95%.
No. There was some that were 100% cotton, but she didn't really say. I asked if it was 100% cotton, and she pointed it out to me, but it didn't really feel like quilting cotton. It felt more like apparel fabric. But
there was some there, she said, 95% cotton, and then didn't know what the other 5% was.
Yeah, she said some of it is 95% cotton. Yeah.
Okay. Good. We got that cleared up. That's what she said. Well, that's what I focused on when she said 95%.
No, but there was a whole section that said 100% cotton. She said.
Okay. We felt it. Yeah. It felt like shit. Okay.
It was very lightweight cotton. So.
In fact, a lot of the fabrics that were in that store
were not particularly good.
The store it was a small area. The fabric was a little bit disarrayed on the shelves. The store looked a little grubby. Now, that might have been just because it was an old store. Okay. And so, sometimes.
And it was in an old section
of town. But we definitely were not welcome there as men. Because there were only men in the place. And there were customers in the store, and we were getting evil looks. Yeah. So we got out of there. And this is what I bring back to the point I made earlier, is that I don't really get the feeling that the Dutch, when it comes to quilting, are used to men quilting. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the vibe that I got. Not that anybody was outright hostile, with the exception of this one particular lady. But yeah, so didn't have much footage of that store because of that. But one place where we did buy, we didn't buy anything in any of these stores.
Oh, we didn't buy any quilting cotton. So.
No, we didn't buy any of that. But when we went to the fabric market, and this was in Utrecht, and this was huge. And it's all on video, so you can take a look at the video if you haven't seen it so far. These are just some pictures from the website showing you what it looks like and where it's located and that kind of thing. But it was just, now again, they had quilting cotton. They didn't have lots of it. I mean, I would say 10% of the fabric there was really quilting cotton. The rest of it was any kind of apparel fabric that you wanted. If you wanted upholstery fabric, if you wanted curtain fabric, whatever, they had it there. But we did buy, we broke the seal kind of a thing. So let me just see if I can find my pictures. I just need to get this off the screen and go here and show you.
Yeah, it's a type of canvas, actually, or whatever, that's
It's woven. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we said that we were looking for things that we probably could not readily get here. And these are definitely ones that we've never seen here. This one on the far side is all the little houses. That's, like what Dutch houses look like in Amsterdam and other places as well. And we're thinking here, these would make great fabrics for making bags from, not quilts. It's too heavy for quilts. Same with this one. This is a woven fabric. I think it's been printed on.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to have been printed on to get.
It's not as heavy as the fabric
No.
that's on to the left that
The one with
has
the
the houses on it, but it is a type of canvas that.
But what really appealed to us was these are old Dutch masters, the paintings that are depicted on it. And again, that's something I think would make a really cool bag. I also saw this. Our next door neighbors have a new dog, and this looks very much like their little Mocha. And I bought 2 of these panels, again, thinking of making a bag for them. But I also saw this fabric there, and I thought that was just kind of fun. Again, this is more of a canvasy type of fabric.
Yeah.
None of this is quilting cotton, but I kind of think it's kind of cute the way it goes. I either love dachshunds or I love a dachshund's bumhole, but whatever on there. But I thought just for fun, use that with the bag with these. I saw these and they appealed to me. Again, they are a woven fabric. Somebody mentioned in a comment, because I showed this on one of the videos that we did, and they said it was I forget what they said.
Tapestry?
Yeah, like a tapestry.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, but they gave it another name or whatever. But it's woven. But I thought this reminds me of Audrey Hepburn, the cat, and then they have a dog. So I got 2 of those. I thought they would make fun if I ever get around to it, make them into bags, kind of a thing. So
or you could make it into a pillow or something.
Yeah. Now, one thing I don't have a picture of here, but Walter bought buttons.
Yeah, I know.
Button. And
the buttons that I got weren't really super unique, but I got a good deal on them. So
yeah, you got quite a few buttons for one.
And actually, that canvas stuff, what we showed, the one with the houses on it, right? That stuff we saw in that Amsterdam store where she told you to stop filming.
Oh yeah.
Right, it was on a roll there, and it was twice the price of what we paid for it at the market.
Yeah,
in the store in Amsterdam, and the stuff in the market was €15.90 euro a meter, and the stuff in the store was €27.90 a meter.
And those panels that I showed you, the ones of the dachshund and the one of the cat and the dog, those were €5 each. And they're fairly large. I think they were 47 centimeters by 47 centimeters with it. So I didn't think €5 was out of the way for these. Because that's about $8 a piece.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good, actually, I thought.
Yeah, if you were in the market of fabric, going to this market was really, really appealing, because there was a lot of stuff there, especially for clothing, if you were making clothing, and the prices were really quite good there. And
they had a lot of notions as well, various prices for that. I think we saw, you could get 3 spools of, what kind of thread was it? It was
like a type of Gutermann.
Oh, it was it
was Gutermann, yeah.
And I think they were 1,000
meter. They were the big spools, 1,000 meters.
I think they're 1,000 meters for you, 3 for €10 or something.
Yeah.
On it, which I thought that's not a bad price.
Good, yeah.
That's about the price of 1 large spool of Aurifil.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, in our money. So yeah, so the textile market was really worth going to. Um, okay, so I guess the bottom line of what we're pointing out is everybody was saying to us, "Oh, you go over there, you can buy all kinds of fabric and stuff like that." No,
It's too expensive.
it's too expensive.
Unless you could find something that was unique. And when we were in that one quilt store in Utrecht, I looked in there and they had some nice fabrics, but there was nothing that really stuck out to me that I wanted to buy. Not only that, we're also looking at the fact that in 2 months, we're going to
The Birmingham Quilt Show.
Birmingham Quilt Show.
Yeah.
And there will be lots of opportunities there for us to purchase
Yeah.
fabrics or something.
But again, it will depend on, we'll have to be conscious of price because it'll be probably in pounds.
Yeah.
And again, is it something that we can't readily get here?
At home. Yeah.
You know, through the internet. At the
I mean, there
stores
isn't
around
any
us.
point in buying K-Facet fabric
No.
in England or in Europe only because they sell it here.
Mhm.
And you're not getting it any cheaper
No.
because they have to send it over there.
Yeah. So now, of course, there's Liberty of London, and we will
Right.
go to Liberty of London when we're in London as well. But again, got to be conscious of price, got to be conscious of the fact you got to get it home too. So, yeah. So, although it was interesting to go around and when we had the opportunity to take a look and find out, you know, what was available and what it was going to cost and everything, really the point of our trip was not to buy fabric. That was a sideline for it. So, but anyways, yeah, I think that's about all we can say about that. Do check out the videos if you haven't. I have put a link to the playlist for all the videos we made. We made a video every day when we were there. And of course, they will have they'll have the textile market, they'll have that quilt store and things like that in those videos as well, if you're interested in checking those out. So next week, maybe we will be looking at how Walter is going to show me how to make a bag properly.
Yeah, so the textile market would have been on the 24th of May.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case somebody wanted to look it up.
If you want to look it up, yeah. So it would be the video with the May 24th listed on it because they're all listed by the days, yeah. I was trying to think, so why are you bringing that up? What's that mean?
But if somebody wanted to
I got the
target-
point. I got the point. I'm a little slow, but I caught up real quick. Okay. So we need more ideas. We keep asking you for them. Not getting them. Okay?
Well, they don't have ideas either.
I guess
the
not.
ideas they have, we won't do.
It's not true.
No, that's not.
You know, if you give us ideas, we may not do exactly your idea, but it may give us ideas on ideas of what we can do. So, you know, it's inspiration, put it that way. Okay, so that's So Chatty for this week. Tune in next week. I hope you enjoyed our little discussion of quilt, buying fabric and that in the Netherlands. And yeah, your comments are always welcome. And if we've got some good ones, we'll share them on the next So Chatty. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Say goodbye, Walter.
Bye.